With interoperability being the very framework we need to present a well-developed ecosystem to the masses, it's no doubt multi-chain networks are the key ingredient here. Now, what this actually means is that we cannot have layer 1 protocols trying to outdo the next one and be the best and greatest if we cannot merge the dApps. And this is where we have projects like Astar Network and Shiden Network, both who are sisternets, providing the gradual synchronization between Kusama and Polkadot with the rest of the layer 1 protocols and therefore their dApps as well. Now, this must be multi-chain week or something because I recently put out a review on Akala and Moonbeam as well. So if you wanted to check those videos out, they'll be linked at the top right hand corner of the screen now, and I do highly suggest you go and watch those as you don't want to miss out on a great investment. Now, if anyone is actually wondering why I've decided to make a video on all of the same type of projects so quickly, well, that's obviously because the parachain auctions for Polkadot are coming out, and if you know me, I love looking into the future of crypto and what projects will stand the test of time, so it's a no-brainer to cover interoperability-based projects. So as for today's video, I'll be covering Astar Network and Shiden Network, both again who are sisternets, as these have been highly requested from me. The reason I'm covering both in this video will be outlined soon, but pretty much they are the exact same project. Now, in saying that, they will be rated on my BSI meter, which you can see to my right. Now, this is where I rate cryptocurrencies once a week on a scale of A to E. Now, if it does rate an A or is highly suggested from you guys, I will review these projects in greater detail. I try to keep these BS or not videos as compact as I can to try and produce more of them. Now, in saying that, if you did want to understand the fundamentals of what I'm talking about in greater detail, or a lot more of the information I literally don't have time to present in these videos, please let me know. I will be coming out with my paid hidden course video series in about 3 weeks, so stay tuned for that. So I want to stop you right here and just let you know to go to the comment section right now and like one of my comments on either the Astar Network or Shiden Network, because I actually do want to do a full dedicated video, even though I haven't actually rated these cryptocurrencies yet. That's because I really do like them, and we're going to go into the reasons why in a little bit. So go and do that right now, because I will be doing a full dedicated video on one or the other. Again, they are the exact same, but I need to know from my community which one you'd prefer more. So whichever one gets more likes at the time I decide to make that video, I will do that dedicated video on. Again, pretty much the exact same project, but it's how I present it to you. Welcome back everyone to a brand new video. My name's Kyron from No BS Crypto. I provide you no BS content on a weekly basis. Now, if you are new to the channel, I want to give you a very, very warm welcome, and I want to let you also know, if you do enjoy the content I provide, to please subscribe and also like the video if you do learn something new. It really does mean a lot to me, and it lets me know that you are enjoying my content. I do encourage comments as well. I like to respond to every single comment I can, and a discussion, because again, I'm learning and you're also learning. Now, in saying that, I produce 2 videos a week typically on a 100x cryptocurrency I believe will 100x either this bull run or a future bull run, as well as a review like the one today, a no BS review, where I again rate a cryptocurrency on a scale of A to E, and if it does rate an A or is highly suggested in the comments, I will do a full dedicated review on it in the future. Now, with that being said, let's move into the video. So let's start off with what these cryptocurrencies are in a very broad nutshell. So Astar Network and Shiden Network are going to be, or at least proposed to be, the dApp hub of both Polkadot and Kusama respectively. Now, for example, Astar Network will provide a full EVM and WebAssembly connection to Polkadot, and Shiden Network will be the exact same for Kusama. Now, both will provide multi-layer 1 protocol compatibility with their respective ecosystems. Now, we will discuss more about this in the rest of the video. However, I just want to point out my face will not be visible in the remainder of the video like I normally like it to be. I like to be very, very interactive with you guys, and that's because I'm trying to cut down my video making times to make way for my paid hidden course gem videos, which I will be bringing out in the next 3 weeks as I'm on work holidays. So stay tuned, let's go. So Astar is designed to merge existing Ethereum-based smart contracts to the Polkadot ecosystem by creating a full layer 1 blockchain that supports OVM modules, ZK rollups, and provides a connection to Polkadot's Parity substrate. Essentially, Astar is a layer 2 solution, as it is providing a base framework for this slower Ethereum ecosystem to connect to the highly scalable Polkadot infrastructure. Yes, even though ETH 2.0 is around the corner, there will still need to be a connection to the future-proof Polkadot networks, and that's where you'll need ASTR. One very interesting piece of information is that ASTR claims that it will be able to connect multiple layer 1 blockchains to Polkadot through its network. So really, it's not only a layer 2 solution for Ethereum, it also connects multiple layer 1 networks like Cosmos, Binance Smart Chain, Solana, and therefore their layer 2 dApps to Polkadot as well. This is actually really big and doesn't just limit a simple connection to the Ethereum ecosystem, which is obviously something I really enjoy about the project. Also, one of the most prominent features in ASTR is the dApp staking feature. Now, this staking feature works by rewarding developers that build on ASTR with the ASTR token, as obviously the network identifies that the people who actually provide the most utility yet also gain the least amount of incentives are actually the developers of dApps. So in saying this, 40% of the block rewards will go to developers each year as an incentive, and the quicker they begin building on ASTR, the faster they can receive a larger market share, which is spelling out the obvious. I'd like to introduce you to something ASTR calls the network effect, an integral part of how ASTR plans to reward these developers, which will demonstrate what the 40% will actually look like. So as you can see on screen, ASTR actually having a rough hypothetical valuation of $1 billion, we can easily visualize what funding will be going on based on a 10% year inflation schematic. So therefore, 10% of the inflation rate will be provided to the collators, which powers the nodes to the Polkadot infrastructure. 40% will be added to the treasury, and the remaining 50% of the inflation goes back to these developers and dApp stakers. So this means that based off a $1 billion valuation, ASTR will be providing $14 million to incentivize developers to build on top of them. So I love this feature because this not only gives the layer 2 applications a great incentive to build on top of ASTR and with ASTR, obviously for this incentive and also the connection to Polkadot, but it's going to force other layer 1 protocols like Cardano, for example, to want to connect with ASTR as well, and this will obviously increase the ecosystem even more, and so on and so forth. Like we can already see that, Binance Smart Chain and Solana are already with ASTR, so the possibilities here are endless, and I see these guys having connections across many different blockchains. Moving on now, so two other core features of Astar Network is the cross virtual machine, or XVM as it's commonly referred to, and the operator trading feature. So in this particular video, I am only going to mention these to you and not go into any sort of detail because I don't want this video going into extensive details and therefore going for half an hour. So if you would like to see an expanded explanation about what I'm about to talk to you about, please go down into the comments section now and like which network you would prefer me to do a review on, and I'll go into these in a bit more detail. So let's just begin. So firstly, we have the cross virtual machine features, which will allow for smart contracts to communicate with other virtual machines and other programming languages like Solidity, all within the same blockchain. Now, this will actually allow for the development of an ecosystem that connects newer, future-proof style architectures like WebAssembly to older ones like Solidity. Now, this is essentially supporting the developers of all ecosystems, which can be referenced by its slogan, of course, the dApp hub of Polkadot and or the dApp hub of Kusama. And operator trading is a mechanism that allows operators of smart contracts to buy and sell parts of their specific job type, including information to other operators. Now, it is completely within their own means as to what the value of this trade-off will be, and ensures the Astar ecosystem can actually function by themselves in a community setting. Think of this as like how people used to trade for goods and services back in the olden days. So to finalize, think of Astar as the highway that connects all the roads together. It's essentially the PowerPoint that turns on the ability for multiple layer 1 protocols and layer 2 applications from many different environments to Polkadot. Yes, most other parachains are allowing for a connection to and from Ethereum, but Astar is designed to connect more than just Ethereum to Polkadot. It wants to connect everyone to Polkadot. Not only this, but Astar expresses how important developers are in any ecosystem, and therefore places these people in an environment where they can self-sustain and thrive in the easiest way possible. Now, as we all know, the Polkadot parachain slots are yet to be released. However, the dates are currently proposed in governance and are expected to begin as of the 11th of November 2021. So if you are looking at participating in Astar Network's crowd loan, stay tuned for more updates. I will post about this on my Twitter, and my handle can be seen on screen now at NoBSCrypto. So please follow me there, and I may also possibly make a video if necessary when the time comes. Now, just so you know, this is currently a work in progress for Astar. I'm talking about the crowd loan here, so when the news is actually released, you'll want to be the first to know. So in the editing process of this video, Astar's actually come out with their official crowd loan, and it has officially started. So the process is very, very simple, but if you did want me to give you an example of how to do this, and I did also share this to my Twitter page, I do suggest you go on there and try yourself. Otherwise, I'm happy to make a video on how to do this like I have already with Akala and like I will do with Moonbeam as well. So please let me know in the comments now, and I will try to scramble a quick video together if you are interested in this. Also, early birds will get an additional 20% bonus ASTR tokens. So it's very, very important if you did want to see this and if you were confused to let me know as soon as possible. Now, if you are unsure what a parachain slot auction is, or even what a crowd loan is, or you just simply want to know the general idea of what the participation process will entail, please check out my video explaining this. It will be seen at the top right hand corner of the screen now. You really do not want to miss that. Now, Shiden Network is similar to that of Astar, and actually it's the exact same except on the Kusama network. Technically speaking, it's actually a fork of the Astar chain, and when you actually go in to figure out the information on Shiden, typically the white paper talking here, it's currently only under Astar and only mentions Shiden under some specific topic. So I want you to take all the information I've literally just provided you on Astar and transfer that over to Shiden as well. So since Shiden is on Kusama and actually won the parachain slot auction, I want to draw most of my attention to Astar, as this is the cryptocurrency that may be bringing most of you people in, given the current news on the Polkadot parachains. Now, since Shiden has won the Kusama parachain, I'm fairly sure its big sister Astar shouldn't have any real issues in securing a spot as well. So let's discuss who's actually supporting these projects from the venture capital level. So they both have almost an identical list of venture capitalists, but let's begin with Astar. So this project has Binance, Fenbushi, DFG, Huobi Global, IOSG, and Hypersphere, just to name a few. Now, Shiden has Binance as well, Fenbushi, DFG, IOSG, Hypersphere, and again, some more as well. So essentially nothing really here is worth noting except a few names switch in and out of the sisternets. And I would have to say the investment from Huobi would make me slightly more bullish on Astar. However, this really doesn't mean too much in terms of project success. I think the larger name under Astar would be a result of the larger market share Polkadot currently has over Kusama, and therefore dragged a bigger investor into the mix. Now, overall, there are some really big names here, obviously being Binance and Fenbushi, and therefore my overall rating would have to be an 8 out of 10 for Shiden, and just coming ahead of that will be an 8.5 out of 10 for Astar for the investors. So moving on now to something I always love discussing, and that is the token distribution. So both Shiden and Astar were designed to have the same token distribution. However, as Kusama slightly differs from Polkadot, the tokenomics therefore had to as well. Now let's begin with Astar. So first of all, we have the team, which is 5%. That will be the incentive pool for employees. Next, we have the institutional investors, which is 10% and is transferred to these entities once the network becomes a parachain. Then we have the marketing team, which is 5%. On-chain DAO, which is 5%, and funds will be used for anything the community deems necessary. Protocol development is 10%, which will be used for things like protocol developments and a to-be-announced grant program. Then we have 5% going to the Parachain Auction Reserve, which is used for future Parachain auctions. Next, we have 30% of the allocation going towards the existing users, which are essentially the users that have participated in the lock drop. Now, discussing this is outside of the scope of this video. However, this was essentially a staking service where users provided ETH to the network for a specific time period. Now, it makes sense this takes up most of the supply. However, the exact total is actually still to be announced. Now, finally, we have another 30% going towards the initial parachain auction, which is probably half the reason why you guys are watching this video. Now, this is a large percentage, however, it is expected due to the popularity of the project, meaning there should be a large quantity of participants and therefore a large amount of PLM tokens for rewards. So as for Shiden, this is exactly the same. However, as I have already stated, this will vary slightly due to the differences in the Kusama and Polkadot networks. Now, the article mentions that the point of difference is the percentage of tokens held for the parachain auctions. In the case of Shiden, 22% will be instead used for the initial auction and 8% for the auction in 2 years. Now, the 5% held within the parachain auction reserve will actually remain the same and therefore be used as an additional buffer for future auctions. So what does this all mean for the rest of us? Well, if you are a regular to my channel, you'd know I didn't cover my very important vesting schedule, and there is a very good reason for that. It's because there is none. As far as I can tell, and please correct me if I am wrong, but all of these tokens are immediately available within the successful parachain connection. Now, this isn't actually too bad, as there isn't really many tokens to be given to the venture capitalists, and the allocation is so small. And another important point is that the remainder of the pools are mainly for the ecosystem development and not in control of a third party. Now, you could argue with me and point out that the team has a say in this as well. However, this is actually the incentives and not a guaranteed distribution. Now, this is quite different from what I normally do cover, but I actually really like it. If I'm going to rate this, I would have to give it a 7 out of 10. Now, the reason why it isn't higher is because I still believe a vesting period is superior. However, I want to fully disclose I am not 100% sure this is the case, and we may actually see this updated into a vesting schedule once a guaranteed parachain slot is confirmed. However, I'd like to just point out the obvious here and go on to CoinGecko and take a look at the total supply and max supply of Shiden. And as we're able to see from the screenshot, they are both the exact same. So this is telling me that yes, all the tokens are in immediate circulation, and therefore that should give you a pretty good idea of what's going to happen as well for ASTR. So I was going to move on and mention the staking liquidity and inflation model of the project, which is obviously very important. However, I'm going to have to skip this, and if a secondary video is recommended by you guys for either network, I will look at this in greater detail, as well as some other indicators I didn't have time for in this review, like the team and supporters, and obviously a very, very important one, the social medias as well. We've reached the end of the video, everyone, so it's time for my final thoughts, rating, and ultimately would I recommend ASTR as a parachain investment and Shiden as an open market investment. So overall, I think these projects have a very unique and profitable idea behind them. Much like other projects such as Akala or Karura, which plan to be the DeFi hubs of their respective networks, ASTR and Shiden plan to be the dApp hub of Kusama and Polkadot. Now, what this means is that they want to create an environment which is specifically built around developers and decentralized applications to nourish both Polkadot, Kusama, and the ecosystem the dApp may have been originally operating from. Now, the analogy I have already used is that ASTR and Shiden are like the central highway that connects all roads together, and that road leads to either Kusama or Polkadot. Ultimately, their fee and reward model is based around supporting developers, and the whole idea of dApp staking is to give back to these people who usually receive little in the way of monetary gain compared to investors. Both projects have connections to some of the biggest blockchains in the space, with more and more coming, so it wouldn't really surprise me to see a connection to Cardano soon as well. The future is actually looking very, very bright for both of these cryptocurrencies, so with that being said, let's rate them. Okay, so it is an A. Now, I think it's pretty straightforward as to why I have rated them this, and if you would like some of the other fundamentals I didn't have time to mention in the video, then please let me know. Again, go and vote for either Shiden or ASTR below, and I will do an expanded review on either of them. Yes, I know they're literally the exact same, but I am interested to see which one has more interest over the other. Now, the question begs, would I invest in ASTR Network for the upcoming Polkadot parachain auctions? And the answer is, of course, yes. However, this is my third choice, and I would not pick this over Moonbeam or Akala, and that is just a personal preference. Do not get me wrong, however, with an extra bit of capital I do have, I will be making an investment. However, My 2 cents on the topic would be not to spread your capital thin. If you can afford to put in $100 into any crowd loan for the auctions, then by all means. However, if you are only investing 20 or so dot into 3, 4, or even more projects, I would say less is more, and you could only look at really 1 or 2 projects in this case. Now, this is just my personal opinion, and that should not be taken as any financial advice. So as for Shiden, the best thing to do in this situation would be to find the points like I've shown you on screen and locate levels of support and resistance, and then begin dollar cost averaging from these positions. Essentially, as of right now, this is actually a fantastic time to begin purchasing as it's leaning towards its all-time low. Additionally, if the price begins to climb, purchasing between these 2 indicators would also be a very sensible thing to do, and buying any lower than these points is an obviously ideal situation. However, buying above the top line is putting yourself at a little bit of a disadvantage. So before I actually sign off, I want to again reiterate that I am so sorry for not being as interactive with you guys on this particular video, and this will be the case for the next 3 weeks of YouTube content. But this will actually allow me to make way for my Hidden Gem course, and the usual content will resume after this. Now, this is actually my typical BS or not type of video. I don't actually go into any crazy depth, let alone trying to talk about 2 cryptocurrencies, even if they are identical. So thanks for bearing with me. I usually do like going into the nitty-gritty and providing the details. So with that being said, it would mean a lot to me if you guys could subscribe, and remember to follow my Twitter for updates on ASTR and its Parachain crowd loan. So thank you all for watching. Love you all. See you in the next video.